All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here for today's first Lunch and Learn webinar. The presentation will begin at 12:10 promptly here, so it gives you a little bit of time to get some lunch, grab something to eat, get relaxed. Just a couple of things I'm going to go over quickly here, and then I'm going to go over that again when the presentation starts. Um, the presentation will start at about 12:10 and last around about, I would say, a half hour, 12:40 so like that. And then after that, we're going to do a little small Q&A session. So if you have any questions, you can use that Q&A function there to post your questions there, and then I will get to those questions after the presentation as much as I can throughout the time. Some of the questions may be answered during the presentation. If not, please feel free. That's what we're all here for. So thank you all for being here. The presentation will begin at about at 12:10. So I will be back in just a little bit. Hey everyone, good afternoon. Thank you all for being here for the first Lunch and Learn webinar. I know it's a little early, it's about 12:09, so I got another minute before I get started, but just for people that are just popping in here, thank you all for being here. This is the first Lunch and Learn webinar that we are going to be doing. We're going to be doing a new series that I'm going to be constructing to where we do these webinars during the lunch hour, and each webinar is going to be a different retirement topic. So for today, the retirement topic is going to be retirement benefit options. So the options that are available to you when you're ready to retire. Now, if you have any questions during the presentation, please use the Q&A function there. I'm going to try and answer as many questions as I can. If I can't answer your question today, I can get back to you. I can circle back to you and get that email or get that answer for you. So I will give you information on how you can contact me to get that question answered if I can't answer for you today. So kind of what's going to happen is I'm going to just run through this presentation for the next, 30 minutes or so. And then after we are going to then have a Q&A session. So then that's when, put in your questions to that Q&A and I will try to answer as many as I can throughout. So, and then also just to let you guys know, I'm hoping that it should be working out this way. After the webinar is done, I should be able to upload this later on. So that way, if you happen to need to leave early, or if you know people that missed out that signed up for it, we can get you that link so you can watch that later. But we plan on doing these webinars more often and everything like that. So very, very exciting. So, okay, perfect. It is 12:10, so I'm going to get started here. So the agenda for today, mostly this presentation is about the benefit options that are available to you when you retire. So when you're going to come in, but I'm going to be touching on some brief information as well. So the first thing is, what is a defined benefit plan? So what is your actual retirement? Just a quick summary of retirement eligibility. We're going to touch on the FCERA member portal, choosing the best retirement date, talking a little bit about the cost of living adjustment. And then finally, we're going to end with the meat and potatoes of the presentation, the types of retirement. So brief information about disability retirement, but then finally, we're going to get into the actual service retirement options that are available to you that you'll have to decide what you want to select when you retire. So the first thing here, defined benefit plan. So what is a defined benefit plan? Well, a defined benefit plan is a guaranteed lifetime benefit based on specific factors. This means that when you're ready to retire, you'll get a benefit from us every month for the rest of your life. Now, how we can calculate your benefit is based on specific factors, like I mentioned. Tier level member classification is considered as far as determining your monthly benefit. So whether you're in tiers 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 as a general member, or 1, 2, 4, and 5 as safety. But we also look at the three other factors here of age of retirement, years of service, and salary, or what we call your final compensation. Now, a member must be considered vested in order to receive any type of a lifetime benefit with us. To be vested in the FCERA plan, that means you need to at least have 5 years of service. So you need to make sure you hit that 5 years service mark to potentially receive any type of benefit from us. Okay, so the next slide here is it's just like a little table here of summary of retirement eligibility requirements for the different tiers in membership. So for example, I'm going to go down general tier 1. If you're in general tiers 1 through 4, your minimum retirement requirements are age 50 with 10 years of service. General tier 5 is age 52 with 5 years of service. Safety tiers 1, 2, or 4 is age 50 with 10 years of service, and safety tier 5 is age 50 with 5 years of service. Now, these are just the minimum age and minimum requirements, I should say, to start drawing a lifetime benefit. If you're unsure what tier or membership that you're in, you can actually find that out on your check stub, or you can actually look on that information in our member portal, which I'm going to be covering in the next slide here. So the next slide here is how much is my benefit at retirement? This is probably one of the most common questions that we get asked in our office, whether that's by email, phone call, things of that nature. The greatest part about this now is to answer to this question is that You can do this and find out what your benefit is at retirement anytime that you like, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's by utilizing our FCERA member portal. Now, I noticed that most people that have registered for today's webinar have attended, or have registered and used the member portal, so thank you. But if you have not used the member portal yet and you need to register, you can go to our website. You can go to our website at fresnocountyretirement.org. Then you're going to see on the top right-hand screen of the website that says member portal. Click on member portal, then you're going to want to register. Now, while you're registering by entering a personal email address, creating a password, security questions, things like that, you are also going to need a unique identifier. That unique identifier is a number that we personally create for you. You can get that number by either calling our office or sending us an email with your work email address. Then we can get you that number to help you complete your registration. The member portal is single-handedly your best financial planning tool for your FCERA benefit, because inside that portal, it allows you to view your beneficiary information. You can calculate your benefit estimate retirement, or your retirement benefit estimates, and in the portal, it pulls the numbers from our pension software. So it gives you estimates and it gives you all the different options that are available for you and the different amounts. And I'm going to go over later in the presentation what those options are and how they impact you. You can also view your contribution balance as well. There's a lot of information that you can view in there. So we definitely recommend that you register if you've not already. It is one of your best tools that you can use. Okay, so the next question that we get asked a lot is choosing the best retirement date. So we get asked, hey, when is the best time to retire? Well, honest answer, it depends. We really can't tell you what the best time for retirement is for you, because that's a decision, a personal decision you have to make. But there are a lot of factors that you need to consider, and or you can consider to help make that decision. So the first one is age. So I mentioned that one of the factors that we use to calculate your benefit is your age at retirement. So each quarter year of age, every quarter year of age that you get older, your benefit increases slightly. So from age 50, then you go to age 50 and a quarter or 50 and a half, your benefit increases slightly. The second bullet point there, this is eligible for members that are in tiers 1 through 3. This is probably one of the bigger factors that people consider when they're looking at retiring if they're in that eligible career or eligible tier, is the cost of living adjustment, or the COLA. So the cost of living adjustment is available for anyone that is in tiers 1 through 3, and they could receive up to a max of a 3% increase per year that's paid out in April. So you've probably heard in your work sites and everything of people retiring in March, and they want to, get out of March or February, things like that. Well, that's maybe because that's what they're looking at as the cost of living adjustment. They can receive up to a max of 3% per year, but that percent is determined by the Board of Retirement, or passed, I should say, approved by the Board of Retirement. The 2021 cost of living adjustment was just approved last week, and that is 1.5%. So for anyone that is retired or chooses to retire on or before April 1st of this year, that is in tiers 1 through 3, we'll get that 1.5% COLA increase. And then on the next slide, I'm going to give you a little example of how that works. Now, keep in mind, for tiers 4 and 5, you do not have a cost of living adjustment. So that's also something to consider when you're looking at your retirement date. Maybe that also means to probably look into investing into deferred comp and things like that. Another thing that people look at, in my experience when I've seen members retire and I've worked with them, is anniversary dates. So a lot of members, they look at, hey, I've always wanted to work 25 years in my department, and then that's when I knew I was ready to retire. So they keep to that. So that's another thing that they consider. But there's a lot of possibilities to look at. So that's why my first bullet point there, it says it depends, because I've been asked that question a bunch of times, whether I've been out at different departments speaking or when I used to retire members as a retirement specialist. That's kind of what I've been asked a lot. And I just said, it just depends. It's on your personal preference. That's why we suggest utilizing the member portal is such a good tool, because you can look at the different estimated benefits to kind of look at the numbers that you're looking at and kind of seeing whether it's worth going to retire at this date or the next date, and then just kind of playing everything out. Okay, so here's my COLA, or cost of living adjustment example, how this works. So let's say you have a member that is considering retirement on August 1st of this year. And by the way, guys, All the dollar amounts here are just fictitious, so these are just for example purposes. So let's just say that this person wants to retire on it or is contemplating retiring on August 1st. Their unmodified benefit will be $3,115. But let's say then if the member decides to retire on April 1st and is in that qualifying tier where they can get the cost of living adjustment, their unmodified benefit would be $3,080. Now, if they retire, since they retired on I am sorry, guys, I cannot talk today. April 1st, they will get that 1.5% cost of living, which would then bump up their April benefit to $3,126, which, as you can see, is bigger than their benefit on August 1st if they were to wait an extra, 4 months? So this is why a lot of people consider retiring in that time to get that cost of living adjustment if they're eligible, because it may make more sense for them to retire earlier to make more on their pension than wait. But like I mentioned, everybody has their own different ways of determining when they want to retire. It's all up to you. But this is just one big reason why a lot of people look at that as wanting to retire. As I mentioned too, the COLA each year is announced by our Board of Retirement in February. So each year we just wait for the board to announce what the COLA is going to be for that year. It could be 3%, could be 2%, could be nothing. So we always wait to see. It's not a guarantee for every year, but that's something to look out for if you're not planning to retire for a few more years and you fall under those eligible tiers. Now, let's kind of get into the types of retirement really quickly here, and then we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of the presentation. So we offer two types of retirement: disability and service retirement. Disability retirement, I'm just going to touch on briefly. We break it down between service-connected disability and non-service-connected disability. And then finally, we have our service retirement, which is our basic retirement that the majority of the FCERA membership go through. So disability retirement: if you become disabled and unable to perform your essential functions of your job, you may be eligible to file for a disability application. You can apply by completing a disability application that's found on our website. Now, in the PDF that I linked everybody for this presentation for the PowerPoint slides, you should be able to click on that link right there and it will take you to the disability application. If not, you can find that on our website. The two types of disability applications or disability retirements that we offer is service-connected disability and non-service-connected disability. FCERA also has a disability retirement policy that can be found on our website. That's linked right there in the presentation. I recommend looking at this as well because this policy covers the entire process from start to finish. Now, service-connected disabilities is the first part of the disability retirement process. Service-connected disability: if you're unable to perform the essential functions of your specific job due to injury or illness, your service-connected disability means that your job caused or substantially contributed to your injury or illness. Important things here is that you must be permanently incapacitated from performing the duties of your job. Temporarily disabled is not acceptable. There is no minimum service credit requirement to apply and potentially be granted a service-connected disability. Service-connected disabilities pay 50% of final average compensation or your service retirement benefit if eligible, whichever is greater. Like I mentioned, this is just some generic information. So if you have questions about the disability process, please contact our office and we will get that answered for you. So the non-service connected disability is basically the same thing as the service-connected disability. It's just an injury or illness outside of work. But some of the same rules applied. You still must be considered permanently incapacitated from performing the duties of your job. Temporarily disabled does not work. But one change from the service-connected disability is for non-service connected disability, you must have a minimum of 5 years of service credit. So you must be vested in the plan. The benefit varies depending on the age and years of service and can be up to 1/3 of the final average comp or your service retirement benefit amount, whichever is greater. Like I mentioned, this is just generic information about the disability process. Please contact our office and speak to a retirement specialist if you have more questions. Okay, the next thing here is service retirement, which is your basic retirement package that everyone's really going to go through when they're ready to retire. The majority of people, I should say, excuse me. Your service retirement is calculated based off of the 3 factors that you see on the screen there. We look at your age of retirement, Then we look at your final average compensation earnable. Now, depending on what tier that you're in, your final average compensation is calculated differently. If you're in tiers 1 and 2, we look at your highest career 365 days at any point in your career. Tiers 3 and 4, we look at the average of your 3 highest individual years. And tier 5, we look at the average of your 3 highest consecutive years in your career. And then finally, your years of service are all also counted or used in that formula to calculate your monthly benefit. And that's the years of service that you earn by working plus any purchased service credit. Now, this is where we're going to start getting into the different options that are available to you. The first option being the unmodified option. Now, this option is your base benefit. This provides your highest monthly benefit that you can get from FCERA based off those factors: age, years of service, and final compensation. This benefit leaves a 60% continuance to an eligible beneficiary, meaning that in the case of your death, your beneficiary will receive 60% of what you were getting every month for the remainder of their lifetime. This is one of 2 benefit options that we offer that you can change your beneficiary after retirement. Now, the 2 types of eligible beneficiaries for this unmodified option to get that 60% continuance is a spouse or a minor child. So the first one here is for a spouse, you need to at least be married or in a registered partnership for at least 1 year prior to retirement, or if you are married or in a registered partnership for at least 2 years at the time of the member's death, and the spouse or the partner is at least age 55, they would be eligible for that 60% lifetime continuance. Now, for minor child, a minor child is eligible, or children are eligible for that 60% continuance all the way up until they turn 18 or they are 22 full-time enrolled in an accredited school. And if they are in an accredited school, they will have to provide transcripts and class schedules, things of that nature. Now, we talk about 60% continuous to an eligible beneficiary. What happens if you don't have a spouse or minor child, but you still want to select this option? You can. You can elect any option that you choose, and especially for this one, if you do not have an eligible beneficiary to receive that continuance, what happens is your non-eligible beneficiary will receive a lump sum payment of your remaining contributions and interest that are in your bucket at the time of your death. This unmodified option, like I mentioned, not only provides the highest monthly benefit amount and gives 60% to an eligible beneficiary, but it's probably one of the most commonly selected options amongst members. So this is one that I see a lot of people go for here. The next option here is option 1. Now, option 1 here, this is the only option that we offer at FCERA that provides no survivor continuance. Not a zip, nothing. So this option provides a slightly reduced monthly benefit amount. So I'm just going to quickly insert this little thing here. Any option that I talk about after the unmodified option, you're going to be taking a slightly reduced benefit. Now, there's going to these options that I'm going to be talking about, 1, 2, 3, and 4, they're going to have different characteristics for that. But you just keep in mind that the unmodified is the highest benefit that you could receive from FCERA based off of the formula that we have, and everything else is a slightly reduced benefit. Okay, so option 1, slightly reduced benefit. So because there's no survivor continuance, your beneficiary that you elect will receive a lump sum payment of your remaining contributions and interest. What option 1 does is it uses your actual contributions up at a slower rate. And this option is very similar to the unmodified option, where you can change your beneficiary after retirement to anyone that you choose. Now, it says using up your actual contributions at a slower rate. Now, I mentioned previously here on the first option here, the unmodified, that if you have a non-eligible beneficiary, they can receive a lump sum payment of your remaining contributions and interest. For that unmodified option, there is a excuse me, I'm just lost my train of thought here. The bucket for that unmodified option for those contributions to be paid out to a non-eligible beneficiary, that bucket lasts anywhere between 2 to 3 years. With the unmodified option, because you're using up the contributions at a slower rate, that bucket lasts anywhere from 15 to 18 years. So option 1, most most of the time you see option 1 selected amongst single members that do not have a spouse, maybe want to leave a little something to their adult child, friend, sibling, something like that, because that bucket lasts anywhere from 15 to 18 years. My experience, I've never seen a married member select option 1. But if that's the case and they want to do that, the spouse has to sign a notarized waiver, waiving their right to a continuing benefit. Now, the next couple of the other three options I'm going to be discussing, options 2, 3, and 4, they all have the same characteristics. They all provide a continuing benefit, and whoever you elect as your primary beneficiary, that's set in stone. But they have just a little bit of a different variation of continuances here. So the first one here is option 2. This option 2, like I mentioned, is a reduced monthly allowance based on the age of your beneficiary. So what this does is it looks at you and it looks at the age difference of your primary beneficiary that you elect. The bigger the age difference between you and that beneficiary, the more of a reduced benefit that you are going to take. Now, for this option, your primary beneficiary does not have to be an eligible spouse. But like I mentioned, because it's tied specifically to your beneficiary, you can beneficiary's age, you cannot change your beneficiary for any reason. So if your beneficiary were to predecease you, that's it. There's nobody there that can pick up that continuance that you can elect. So option 2 for the beneficiary, it provides a 100% continuance, meaning that in the case of your death, whatever you were receiving every month for the rest of your life, your beneficiary will receive. Now, if you decide to elect a beneficiary that has more than 10 years in age difference and is a non-spouse, we have to send that calculation out to our actuary to do. We don't do that calculation in-house. Now, when we send the calculations out to the actuary, keep in mind that there's always a chance that your benefit payment could be delayed because we're at the mercy of the actuary of getting that information back. So that's something to consider. I do see married couples select option 2 because they do want to make sure that their spouse is taken care of and leave 100% continuance. So I have seen that. I've also seen the other way around where I've seen members select an adult child to get a benefit 100% continuance. Now, option 3, very similar to option 2, reduced monthly allowance based on the age of the beneficiary, except this option provides only a 50% continuance to the beneficiary. Like I mentioned, does not have to be an eligible spouse, and you cannot change your beneficiary for any reason once you make that election. This one, mostly see if they want to leave a sibling or an adult child or someone a 50% continuance. You don't see married members select this option. It's usually unmodified or option 2. So those are the option 2 and 3. They're very similar. Now, the last option that we offer is option 4, which is a little bit more detailed and involved. Now, option 4 is a customized actuarial calculation based on specific instructions. Basically, this is a customized option. We rarely don't see a lot of option 4s in the office. Most of the time when we see an option 4 it's to be used to comply with a marital settlement agreement due to a divorce. So if the ex-spouse is owed a percentage of your benefit for their lifetime or things like that. But if that does not involve you, you could still select an option 4. Option 4 allows customization. So you can actually, what this option does is it allows you to leave a continuing benefit to multiple beneficiaries. So as if options 2 and 3 were 100% continuance and 50% continuance, that beneficiary can only be one person. So option 4 allows you to make that customization to multiple beneficiaries. Just like options 2 and 3, you can't change your beneficiary for any reason after you elect that option because it's tied to the age difference between you and that beneficiary. And as I mentioned there on that 4th bullet point there, just like option 2 and 3, the bigger the age difference between you and that beneficiary, the more impact that's going to have on your monthly benefit, but also the number of beneficiaries that you want to leave a continuing benefit to will also impact what your monthly benefit is as well. And this calculation, because it's customized, it does have to be sent to our actuary to do the calculation. Now, there are 2 types of option 4s that we offer. First one is basic option 4. This basic option 4, very simple. It's just like a basic option in a sense, very easy. Because all these calculations are sent to the actuary, if you would like to go the basic option 4 route, your first calculation that we send to the actuary is free. So you get a freebie. The second calculation, I should say, if you get back the first one and you may not be too happy about it or you want to try a different percentage or something, we can send that back out to the actuary again, but it's a $750 charge to get that calculation out. Now, the basic option 4 can, like I mentioned on the previous slide, it's a customized actuarial calculation. You can have multiple beneficiaries. You can have 2, 3, 4, whatever you like, but that will also impact your monthly benefit amount. Now, with the basic option 4, one of the key things here is you must have equal percentages paid out for your survivor continuance. So, for example, if I have 2 beneficiaries, beneficiary A and beneficiary B, let's say that I want 40% of my benefits split evenly to both beneficiary A and beneficiary B. That's an example of how the basic option 4 will work. So out of the 40% continuous that I want to leave, 50% is going to go to A, 50% is going to go to B. And like I mentioned before, after you elect this option, you cannot change your beneficiary at any time. So if in this scenario, if beneficiary A passes, beneficiary B still gets their share, but that's it. Beneficiary A, no one there can come in and claim that amount. It's lost for good. Now, the other option 4 that we offer is the non-basic, which provides a little bit more customization. But a couple notable things here about that non-basic option 4. It is a $750 charge right out the gate. There is no free calculation from the actuary. This non-basic option 4 does allow a little bit more wiggle room here, or I should say customization. This non-basic option 4 allows for unequal percentages. So unlike the basic option 4 where everybody's survivor continuance had to be equal, the non-basic option 4 does not have to be that. So for example, I'm going to use, I want 40% of my benefit be left between beneficiary A and beneficiary B. Out of that 40%, I want beneficiary A to get 60% of that, and then I want the remaining 40% to go to beneficiary B. So that's kind of how that non-basic option 4 works. Now, the other thing about that non-basic option 4 is something called reversion. So I mentioned before that in that previous example with the basic, if beneficiary A were to predecease you, no one there can come in and claim that beneficiary A's survivor continuance. With a non-basic option 4, we can do something called reversion, meaning that you can have it written out when you are going through this process that says if beneficiary A passes, you can make their share go to beneficiary B. So then in that example above where beneficiary A was to get 60%, 40% to beneficiary B, if beneficiary A passes, beneficiary B will get everything until they pass. So that's kind of the non-basic 4 approach. Like I mentioned, these are customized options that we don't really see a lot, but are available to you. If you have more questions, please contact our office. Finally, to kind of end the presentation, this is just going to be something called talking about the temporary annuity option, or the TAO. We do get questions about this. This is an optional thing that you can do for members that are coming in to retire under the age of 62. Basically, in a nutshell, the temporary annuity option, I'm going to just use TAO for the rest of this portion here, think of it as an advancement on your Social Security benefit. Now, this is only available to anyone that is retiring with FCERA under the age of 62. So let's say that you come in at age 55, and I'm going to give you an example of how this works on the next couple of slides as well. But you come in at age 55 and you're interested in taking this temporary annuity option. We're going to ask you for your estimate, your Social Security estimate at age 62 from Social Security. We get that amount, we plug that into our system, and we give you an allowance amount based off an actuarial factor that we have in our system. So whatever that advancement that you will get that advancement every month up until you turn 62. Then when you turn 62, we will decrease your FCERA benefit by the full Social Security estimate that you provided, not by the amount of advancement that you've been getting for those 7 years from 55 to 62. And that decrease that we take away at 62, that lasts for the rest of your life. Also, if you if you're in an eligible tier, you can earn cost of living on those TAO advances. Well, at 62, we also have to take away and reduce those TAO advances you got, or the cost of living that you got on those TAO advances. Excuse me. So the thought process is, if you take the TAO, then when you turn 62, you go to Social Security and you draw your benefit. Hopefully your estimate for Social Security is still the same, or your benefit at 62 from Social Security is still the same as your estimate that you provided for FCERA at 55 when you retired. If it is, then that will level out your income to where you're not losing any money. This does not affect your future Social Security benefits. It does not affect your survivor continuance of the option that you select. And this is also only available for service retirement. People that are granted a disability retirement do not have this option. Now, I'm going to kind of show you how this TAO works here. So let's say you have a general member at age 55. Their Social Security estimate is $1,237. And by the way, all these numbers here are fictitious, guys. So let's just say that their Social Security estimate is $1,237. The modification factor that we use for the TAO, let's say that's 0.4913. So we take those two numbers and multiply them together, and we get an advancement of $608 per month that this member will get all the way up until they turn 62. Now, let's say their base retirement was $2,850. So we add that $608 from the TAO. And so their total pension from 55 to 62 is $3,458. Now, let's say at 62, then we reduce your benefit by that full Social Security benefit estimate that you provided when you retired of $1,237. So now your total FCERA pension starting at age 62 all the way for the rest of your life is $2,221. Now then you would go to Social Security and draw your benefit. Hopefully it's the same amount as your estimate at $1,237. And then look, you are still making the same amount that you were at age 55 to 62. Now it goes without saying, if you don't take the TAO, you're going to have more disposable income when you're ready to draw Social Security, as you can see right here. So you'll end up having more disposable income at $4,087 if you draw Social Security at 62. So I kind of did a TAO break-even analysis here of how this whole situation. So from the numbers that I provided on the first couple of slides previously, let's just say that if you selected the TAO, you would earn an additional $608 per month for those 7 years from 55 to 62. That comes out to $51,072. Now, at age 62, we reduce your benefit by that full TAO, or by that full Social Security estimate of $1,237 for the remainder of your life. So what I did is I take the 51,000 divided by the 1237, and I get a break-even point of a little over 41 months, or under 3.5 years. So from the figures above, it's going to take roughly about 42 months for you to have paid back the amount that was advanced to you from FCERA. However, that reduction of 1237 still continues for the rest of your life. Now, in this scenario, if the member happened to live up until the age of 86, the member would have foregone, and you guys can see that right there on the PowerPoint slide, $356,256 from those 24 years from age 62 to 86, just to receive an advancement of $51,072 for 7 years. Now, like I mentioned, we at FCERA can provide you all this information to help you make the best decisions. We can't tell you what to pick. In my personal opinion, the way I would look at this TAO is, when you're ready to retire, if you're going to retire before 62, look at what your FCERA benefit is roughly going to be with the option that you're looking to select. Then look at your whole other financial picture, because you can't just look at this one option. You got to look at your whole picture. So look at, do you have deferred comp? Do you have other savings? Can you make the benefit that you're going to get with whatever option that you want to select work for the rest of your life? If that amount can work, there's really no reason to take the TAO. Because you can see from this example, you're foregoing a lot of money in this example alone by taking that TAO for the advancement of 7 years. But like I mentioned, everybody's situation is different. So you're going to have some people that take the TAO. I've seen people take the TAO at 55, 56, 57. I've even seen someone take it at 59, even though they're only going to get a couple years of advancements. It's really up to you and what is in your personal financial world. That's something that you'll have to make that decision on. But at least you'll have this type of information to kind of see what's the best decision for you. Okay, so now I kind of went over a couple minutes. That's okay. This is the first webinar, so we're only going to go up from here. This is just contact information. So if you're looking to retire, so this is very important. If you're looking to retire, you need to make sure that you call our office within 90 days prior to the retirement date that you choose. Our retirement specialists are only seeing or making appointments for members that are signing a retirement application, and they will make that appointment within 60 days from your retirement date, because you can't sign any paperwork outside that 60 days of your retirement date that you choose. Our mailing address is on there. Our office is actually currently closed to the public due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Hopefully things look like they're getting better with the vaccine rollout and everything like that. Hopefully things will be better, or we can welcome back the public maybe later this year. Hopefully, I'm crossing my fingers. You can call our office there or email us at FCERA@FresnoCountyCA.gov. So if you have questions, please feel free to email us, email me, let me know how things are going, any questions. Everyone is going to receive also a survey later on, probably either later today or tomorrow, just about the webinar. Because this is the first one in the webinar series, I want to make sure that, I want to improve on everything. So I'm going to send you a little survey and I would be very grateful if you could take out a minute or two to fill that out. So I'm going to kind of get going here with some of the questions here, and I'm going to try to answer as many questions as I can throughout the time here. And then if I can't answer the question right now, please send me an email and I'll get that question answered for you later today. I don't have an issue with circling back with you later today and getting that answered for you. So I'm going to kind of just go here with the first question. On the FCERA website calculator, are your banked hours calculated in toward years of service, or just the service buyback time? If not, how do I estimate the added time? So your banked hours, your time off bank hours, are not included in the FCERA member portal. There's a reason for that, because we have no say in your annual leave hours. Your annual leave hours are going to be given to us after you retire from HR. So after you retire, we get a list of your annual leave hours. If you have time off bank hours, they tell us how many hours that you have. We can use those hours to increase your service credit. They will not be affected on your first paycheck. It's usually adjusted to your third benefit check. I do have a formula for the time off bank hour. Right now, I don't have the formula on the top of my head. So please email me at FCERA@FresnoCountyCA.gov, and I will get that to you. So I apologize. I don't have I see a lot of things in my head right now, but that equation is not one of them. But just email me and I'll get that to you. Okay, so the next question here is, I plan on retiring. Hold on, let me make sure I look at that. If I'm planning on retiring in December of this year, when should I contact the retirement board? And is it better to have my last day of work at the end of a pay period? So I think I kind of answered that already on that contact sheet there. If you're planning on retiring in December, once you know the date that you're looking to retire, please contact our office 90 days prior so our specialists can set that appointment for you. They will set that appointment within 60 days of the retirement date that you choose. And is it better to have your last day of the work at the end of a pay period? It doesn't matter. That's strictly up to you. I will say a lot of people end up doing that. They just feel like it's easier to do that, but that decision is totally up to you. And then after this, guys, after I answer all these questions, I'll write out these answers as well. And now maybe I'll make a little bit of a document of all the questions that were asked and answers. And I can also email those to you on request as well. So, also, we'll be discussing Social Security and how it affects your retirement. We don't deal with anything Social Security related in our office. Social Security and FCERA benefits are two separate things. The only thing that we deal with Social Security wise is the TAL option that I spoke of there, but that's only to get your Social Security estimate. Anything Social Security related, please contact them directly. Okay. Hello, do you need both years of service and age to retire? If I will have 30 years of service at age 50, but I was told I would have to have the age as well. 50 years old would be too young for me to retire per retirement. Is this true? So you would have to, let's go back here. This is the beauty of having a PowerPoint slide right in front of me, right? So general tier if you are in general tier, you have 30 years of service, you can retire at any age that you choose. But age 50 is just the minimum age. So I would say that it really depends. I can't really answer if that's too young for you, because you would have to also look at what your benefits are going to be. So that's why the member portal was so useful, is that you can look at what your benefit is going to be at age 50, 55, 60, kind of see what you're looking at. In that instance of having 30 years already at around age 50, a few more years and you're almost going to be hitting 100% of your final compensation. While I don't know what all the statistics in that, you can use the member portal, but I would recommend also contacting our office and speaking to a specialist about that situation, because that's kind of an open-ended question that I can spend a lot of time discussing. And it would probably be better to talk to a specialist at that point, because they can walk you through and actually look at your account in real time with you and discuss that. Is the COLA based on the whole current monthly pension amount? Yes. So whatever your unmodified, I'm just going to use the unmodified amount as an example. So let's say that I'm eligible for the COLA and I want to retire on April 1st. Let's say my unmodified amount is $2,000. Well, the COLA is 1.5%. So 2,000 times 1.5%, whatever that number is, that's going to be added on to my $2,000 benefit because I retired to get that COLA. Will the webinars be monthly or question mark? The webinars, yes. Okay, so I am planning to do these monthly. The whole point is to have a different topic each month rotating. It may not be every month or every other month, but we're going to try and do this consistently as possible, because I've seen the feedback already from a couple previous webinars I've done, such as the mid-career webinar, which that's going to also be happening next month. And I noticed that a lot of people love these webinars and love having this information. And that's the one part I love about my job, is to provide this information to you. So yes, I'm going to be trying to make that consistently. When I have more of a consistent schedule, because I'm actually kind of working on that, I'll be able to release that to the public and let you guys know. Wow, you guys have a lot of good questions. Keep them coming. Okay, I'm going to see if I can get through most of these here, and then I can stay a little bit after 1 o'clock. I know it's only the lunch hour, but I'll probably, I can stick around for 10, 15 minutes after and try to answer as many as I can. If not, I can just, if I don't get to your question, just send me an email and I can get that, and I can get the answer to you. Do you receive the COLA each year after you retire, or just the year you retire? No, as long as you are in an eligible tier 1 through 3, you will get the COLA every year. How accurate is the estimated calculation on the website, give or take? If you're talking about the calculation in the portal, it's pretty accurate, because it's pulling the numbers from our pension software. Your account still needs to be audited by our specialist, but as a rough estimate, it's accurate because it's pulling the information that we do get from payroll and things like that. But just keep in mind, it is still an estimate until the specialist audits your file. How many years in the past 5-10 years haven't had a COLA? I don't think there has been a zero COLA in the last 5 to 10 years, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm actually approaching my 6th year with FCERA actually next week. And every year that I've been here, we've had a COLA, and I don't believe that there's been a 0% COLA. Why does Tier 5 not have a COLA? Because it has not been adopted by the board. It could be, but I don't know the specifics of how all that works. So I don't want to speak on something I don't know. But we just do not have a Tier 5 COLA for Tier 5. If you wait until after April 1st, will you still be able to get your COLA in 2022? Yes. So if you are an eligible tier 1 through 3 and you decide to retire in June instead of April, you just have to wait until 2022's cost of living to get that adjustment. You will still get the COLA, you just will not get the 2021 COLA. Regarding service retirement, does it go off base pay or gross or net income? Base pay, plus any pensionable earn codes. If I retire the year where there isn't a COLA for that year, will we be eligible for the next COLA year? I'm in tier 1. Yes. You're in an eligible tier, so you're always eligible for a COLA each year. There's just not a guarantee that there is going to be a COLA each year, if you get what I'm saying. Is the 60% split between beneficiaries, or do each get 60%? It's only one beneficiary if it's a spouse. Minor child, I believe it gets split until one of the children ages out, then their percentage gets reverted to the other minor child. But that's only for minor children that it could be potentially split. There's not, both of them do not get 60%. Spouse, it's only one. Can you repeat the criteria for children to receive the continuance? Minor child is a child under the age of 18 or up until the age of 22 if they are full-time enrolled in an accredited school. Can a beneficiary be a nonprofit organization, charity, or must be a specific person? I believe it must be a specific person. If we're talking about a continuance, it must be a specific person. But you can email me that and I can find that answer out for you just to make 100% sure. I will be 66 and want to retire. What type of pension will I receive? U.S. pension, Fresno County pension, and I have to pay for my health insurance. Is that correct? You will receive a pension from FCERA, which is the County of Fresno's pension. You will have to pay for health insurance yourself. The county offers health insurance stuff, or you can seek out a third party. FCERA does not handle anything health insurance related. I'm just going to get that out there right now. We do not handle anything health insurance related. If the unmodified option is elected, is there a limit on number of beneficiaries? Well, that depends on the open end of your question. If you're talking about potential to leave a surviving continuance, yeah, there may be. But for a non-eligible beneficiary, you can leave multiple beneficiaries. They're only going to leave the amount. They're only going to be eligible for the amount of contributions that are left in the bucket. Okay, so for example, with this 4,087, the person had to go in for heart surgery, which costs more than what? Okay. For example, with this 4,087, the person has to go into heart surgery, which costs more than $100,000. How can it be paid? I apologize. I don't know exactly what the basis of this question is coming from, so I don't know if I can answer that. Is the TAO option available for a member who is retiring at age 50 and a half? It's anyone that is under the age of 62 will be offered the TAO. And that is something that's going to be offered to you when you meet with the retirement specialist. Is this PowerPoint presentation available on the website? It is not. But I will be uploading this video to our YouTube channel later on. You can always email me for the link and stuff, and I could be happy to provide that to you. We're doing a revamp of the website as well, so hopefully I can put more of this multimedia content on there for you guys. But I'm planning on uploading this to our YouTube channel, so you can email me for the link later on. To clarify, the basic difference between the unmodified and option 1 is I get more money each month with the unmodified, and my non-eligible beneficiary gets less of a lump sum payment. And with option 1, you get less money each month, and my non-eligible benefit gets a bigger lump sum payment. That's true and false at the same time. So yes, your unmodified option, you will get more than option 1. The unmodified, it gives a less of a chance to leave a lump sum to a beneficiary. Option 1 gives a better chance of leaving a lump sum to a beneficiary. Because option 1 does not provide a survivor continuance, it uses up that contribution bucket more slowly. The unmodified option for a non-eligible beneficiary, that bucket for a potential lump sum payout lasts 2 to 3 years approximately. The unmodified option, or option 1, lasts 15 to 18 years. Can you use your annual leave toward years of service? What is the breakdown if I have 300 hours and 100? So annual leave hours, everything, we recommend contacting employee benefits. Time off bank hours can be used for service credits because time off bank hours have no cash values. So those can be used, but we don't get those hours until after you retire. But we recommend contacting employee benefits to talk about your annual leave and how that impacts you. Let's see, can I have more than one non-eligible beneficiary for the unmodified amount? No, I believe not, but I'll have to circle back with you on that. Can FCERA discuss all our retirement benefits from other sources, Social Security, other employers, and how they affect each other, or only county benefits? So We really can't speak on all these other benefits because they're not our own. We don't have a hand in them. So we prefer you to reach out to them individually to speak to them about those. We may have a webinar later this year where I'm going to try and see if I can conduct having Social Security give a presentation nationwide, things like that. But as far as discussing all those from just myself discussing them, we can't really do that. Can I sign up for deferred comp via the website? You can actually go to Fresno457.com. That's the Fresno County Deferred Comp website through Nationwide. Our rep is Deanna Sisk. She'll be more than happy to sign you up for that deferred comp. If you need any more info, just please email me at FCERA at Fresno County CA, or just email me personally at jawong@FresnoCountyCA.gov. I can give you that information for Deanna. If you have leftover annual leave, can you get reimbursed for that? So, as I mentioned, I would recommend any annual leave hours, talk to employee benefits. They will get those answers for you. But usually your annual leave hours will be cashed out to you on your last check. And there is a tax hit on that, but I would speak to them to find out that more detailed information. Okay, I would like the answers to the questions sent to me. Okay, so I can look at, I will have a log of all the questions that are being asked. So if you do want the question log and answers, I can create a document. Just send me an email to FCERA@FresnoCountyCA.gov, and then I can get you those answers when I get that document created. If I want to retire at 53 years old with 24 years but don't want the TAL, will that reduce my benefits? No, it will not. You do not have to take the TAL. The TAL is optional, is an optional thing that you can select on top of whatever option that you want. So you don't have to take the TAL. No, it's not mandatory, required, or anything like that. You do not have to take it. What agency do I talk about continuing health insurance from work? Well, that depends if you're a county employee or a special district with either the courts or other special districts that we have. Talk to your HR department and find out. How many years in the past have the COLA have not had a COLA? I think I answered this earlier. I don't think in the past 5 to 10 years we've had a zero COLA. We've always had some type of percentage. This is in regard to the calculation of your annual income. I've received an increase on 9/20. Would I have to wait until 9/21 for the highest amount, or would it be average with the period with the income increased and also include the amounts from the prior period? Well, that is a theoretically yes, but that's a question I can't answer without looking at your account and finding out what tier and everything you're in. To answer that question, I recommend calling our office and talking to a specialist because they can pull up your account and look at your information and be able to give you a more detailed answer on that. Is the retirement benefit taxed? Yes, it is. So when you come into retirement and you sign the paperwork, you will be handed tax forms by our specialists. Right now, obviously, the retirements are done by over the phone through the mail and things, but you'll be given tax forms. Those tax forms will need to be filled out to designate how much or what your tax designation is that you would like us to take out of your check, your retirement benefit. And you can change those taxes every month. All you have to do is just fill out new forms and send it to us. Is there anything that can cause a delay in retirement, such as document not being sent to the department? That's a fantastic question because yes, there can always be a delay. So some of the reasons why your retirement benefit can be delayed is if you have a divorce during your county service and you have not given us the documents. We need those documents as soon as possible. You can even turn those documents in if they've been finalized prior to you actually retiring, so we have them on file. But we need to make sure that we have your birth certificate. If you're married, marriage certificate, spouse's birth certificate. We also need a copy of a resignation letter that's signed by your department. Things like that. The retirement specialist will go over all the information that we need from you and all the documents that we need. And they will also give you a date when everything's due by. If you do not get those documents by that date, you will not get paid for that. You will have a delay. How accurate, man, I feel like I've been answering the same questions. How accurate is the estimated retirement calculator on the website, give or take? It is accurate because it's pulling the information from our pension software. Granted, it is still an estimate and your file still needs to be audited by a retirement specialist, but it is a good indication of what you're looking at because it's pulling the information that we get from HR and payroll. Can you do one on each specific benefit each month so we can get a better picture of each? This might save use some appointments. Are you speaking of as far as benefit options, like modified on option 1? Because I don't know if that's, we can kind of look into that, but I don't know if that's going to be viable for a whole webinar based off of one specific option. But you can always send us questions, individual questions, like just send me an email. We can answer those for you. Will you have more examples in the future? Can you, in future webinars, can you include one to reflect someone in tier 1? It would be helpful. So that's a good question. For the benefit options like this, if I end up doing another one, the same one, another benefit option webinar later this year, probably wouldn't be till like November or December. But if I did, I will try and include more examples. It's just kind of hard because we're trying to do this in the lunch hour, and I've already gone over it already because it's already 104 or 105. So it's a little bit more difficult to do. We may be able to do longer webinars in the future where we have a set amount of time of a couple hours that's not during the lunch hour. Granted, you may need to take annual leave hours, but that's something else that we can do. Or I could provide content on the website as well to view at your own discretion. Are there any benefits not calculated in the portal other than bank hours? Is it my understanding that the calculation for years of service for health insurance costs? Bank hours are not in the portal, and we don't deal with anything health insurance related. So anyone that tells you that FCERA deals with health insurance, they are wrong. They are wrong. We do not deal with any of that stuff in our office. But time off bank hours are not included in the portal. Mostly everything that's FCERA related is in the portal. Where do I find out what tier I'm in? You can look in the member portal or look on your pay stub. On your pay stub, it should tell you what tier that you're in. What is 1 year high average pay? Basically, what that means is if you're in tiers 1 and 2, we look at your whole career and we take the highest average pay that you have for 1 year at any point in your career. We look at your highest pay that you've gotten in a 1 year span at any point, and that's what we use to calculate your final average compensation. Can the unmodified benefit go to a trust or beneficiary if your spouse or children are in the trust? I believe not, but I'll have to get back to you. And that's something that we can write out. I can write out on that Q&A form that I have that, questions that people are asking for me to send you after this is over. I can get that answered for you as well. Is there a cap on how much annual leave we can cash out? That's a question I can't answer. That's employee benefits. You'll need to contact them, 600-1810. I heard in our last meeting that we could or should transfer our time off bank hours, but I don't remember to where or how to do this. Everything annual leave, time off bank hour related is going to go through employee benefits, so speak with them. If I have an MSA but an ex-spouse won't be awarded any retirement, do I still need to provide the MSA? Yes, we will need a copy of your finalized divorce documents and any attachments. I recommend sending that into our office as soon as possible so it's in your file, so that's not something later on that you have to go digging around when you're ready to retire. What options do most take with the spouse? Option 2 or the unmodified. I am sorry I was late signing in. Can you please explain the TAO that you were talking about, or is it somewhere I can read about this? So the TAO, it's a longer conversation. The TAO is a longer conversation that's in the PowerPoint right here, in the PowerPoint slides. If you want, send me an email, or you can give me, and then we can set up a time and we can talk over the phone or Microsoft Teams, something like that, and I can go over and explain that to you. Because I don't want to take up too much more time because we are getting into we are past the lunch hour. But I want to say for everybody that's still here, thank you for being here for the first Lunch and Learn webinar. Hopefully it was informational to you. I know it's a lot of information crammed in an hour span. If you do want to have any other additional questions, please contact me, send us an email, give me a call. If you would like to see a log of these questions and the answers, please give me a call. I'm going to start comprising of them. It may take me a day or two to get this done, but I will get that done. And also, I'll be posting this recording up on our YouTube page as well. So if again, thank you so much for tuning in and being here. Be on the lookout for more announcements on when the new next webinars are going to be. I do have one scheduled in March. I haven't announced yet, but as far as these Lunch and Learns, I'm creating the schedule and we'll be putting that out to the public very, very soon. So with that being said, guys, thank you all again for being here. I appreciate it. You will have a survey coming in your email probably within the next day or two, because I'm probably going to include the link to the recording as well. If you have any questions, feel free to call me, email me, and we're here to help. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of the day and enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you, guys.